Good morning. As we come together in consciousness in celebration of our Sunday service, let us remember there is only one power, one presence, one infinite divine being. It rises with the morning sun, soars on the wings of an eagle, and dances in the spring showers. It is who and what we are, spiritual beings, children of the Most High, perfect, whole, and complete. And when we come to understand the truth of who we are and the power that we possess, we also come to realize that the kingdom of heaven lives within, and that we have been given all that we require to live a life of peace, of joy, and of harmony. We have been given the keys to the kingdom of heaven. For this and so much more, I say thank you. Thank you, God, for guiding and leading us today. And with love in my heart, I release these words to the infinite law of mind. I release, I let go, I step to the side, and I simply let Spirit be my guide. And so it is.
Good morning. My name is Shemroy Parkinson, and I welcome you to our Sunday spiritual experience. We are Verity Centre for Better Living, a new thought teaching ministry founded by the Reverend Evan Reed. We are also a member of the Universal Foundation for Better Living, Namaskar. If you are joining us for the first time, it is my pleasure to greet you all on behalf of the Board of Directors and our members. It is my hope that something said or done today will make a positive difference in your life. Please know that we accept you, respect you, and appreciate you. If you have any questions or need to find out more about the center, please follow us on Facebook or contact the office. We thank you for spending this time with us. Our vision is creating and maintaining a spiritually based community that facilitates enlightenment, enrichment, and empowerment. Our mission is offering spiritually based principles and techniques to those who are seeking to live healthier, happier, and more prosperous lives. Our motto is always verifying the truth, vivifying the spirit, vitalizing the soul. We offer a full range of sacerdotal services, classes, and spiritual coaching. There are also opportunities to be an active part of this community. Please contact the office. Please affirm the opening statement with me. It is on your screen. I recognize heaven as the vibration of God within me. I am one with this presence and power. I am fueled by the living waters of spirit. Heaven awaits my recognition of it as my life. Please turn to the page after the center page of your daily inspiration publication, and I will be reading core beliefs 7 to 9. Those are the final 3 beliefs on the page. They are also on your screen. We believe that rather than devoting our primary efforts to providing for the needy of the world, the time has come to make available to all people everywhere a teaching that will enable them to provide for themselves by learning to release the divine potential within them. We believe that the Universal Foundation for Better Living is a vehicle for the spreading of such a teaching. We believe that a mighty new wind is blowing. People everywhere are hungry for practical techniques that will show them how to fulfill the good desires of their hearts. We in the UFBL believe that we have these techniques, and we offer them to everyone without distinction, confident that with the help of the Holy Spirit, we can teach all who are willing to learn how to overcome whatever would keep them from their highest good. So it is. Today's inspirational reading is found on page 64 and will be read by my friend Sierra Reese of the Sunday School.
Good morning. I still my mind to divine wisdom. Holy Spirit, on this blessed, wonderful, filled day, I pray in faith as a spiritual being, fully aware of my divine nature and inheritance. I acknowledge that I have unlimited access to divine mind. I am mindful that your wisdom functions in and through me as intelligence, intuition, and inspiration. Quieting my mind now, I turn my attention inward and tap the vast power of divine wisdom. Going beyond the surface of my mind and my experiences, I focus with single-minded concentration to discern the course of action that is best for me today. Completely relaxed in mind and body, I confidently and patiently await my inner tutor. Answers, understanding, and clarity regarding my next steps come into my conscious awareness. I'm grateful that I can always rely on divine wisdom. The scriptural text is taken from Proverbs chapter 2, verse 10, where wisdom will come into your heart and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul, and so it is.
Thank you, Sierra. Please listen to the announcements. On behalf of the board of directors, we want to thank everyone who helped donate to the mortgage fund. We will be providing you with an update on that progress shortly. The Call to Love meditation continues from Monday to Saturday at 7 a.m. The link is in the Verity News You Can Use email. To receive the phone-in information, please leave a message at 416-240-1956. Please join us on Sundays for meditation from 10:35 to 10:45 a.m. There is Sunday school today at 4 p.m. To receive the link, please email veritycenter@gmail.com. Again, that's veritycenter@gmail.com. Breakaways continue each Wednesday at 7 p.m. It's a time to share and get your questions answered. Come, bring a friend, and be prepared to participate. The link is in the Verity News You Can Use email. Please continue to submit your photos for the art gallery to verityvibe1@gmail.com. Again, that's verityvibe1@gmail.com, and they will be featured once a month during fellowship. How well do you know your Verity neighbor? Verity Vibes Throwback Contest continues. Submit a baby picture, one from your youth or a blast from the past, to verityvibe1@gmail.com. Also include your month of birth, occupation, a fun fact, and your hobby. We will all get an opportunity to play the guessing game during a Sunday fellowship. Please save the afternoon of Saturday, May 8th on your calendars. A fun-filled, action-packed Mother's Day fundraising event is being planned for your enjoyment. Details to follow. Again, Saturday, May 8th. Verity stands in love as we say thank you for the leadership, love, and support from the teacher of teachers, Reverend Helen Carey. She was an ordained minister for over 40 years alongside the late Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman and many other giants of truth. She was also the dear friend, affectionately known as my buddy, to our own, the late Reverend Evan Reed. Reverend Dr. Helen Carey was an iconic spiritual teacher, leader, and mentor. She taught the importance of mastering your subject matter and always being in divine order. Reverend Carey taught through her classroom, and more importantly, through her example and commitment on how a minister should serve humanity. She not only taught standards of excellence, she planted the seeds within each person she met. Reverend Carey's teaching and leadership is sewn into the tapestry of cut of UFBL. We will miss preparing care packages of maple syrup and patties, and even hearing you start off at our panorama of truth with the roll call singing. May your light be among the stars, and we celebrate you on your new assignment. God bless. Let us prepare for a moment of conscious communion with our source and supply.
Start again. I now let go. There's nothing to fear. I now let go. There's nothing to fear. I now let go. There's nothing to fear. I now let go. I now let go. There's nothing to fear.
Take a moment and be still. As you enter into the silence of your mind, know that you are never alone. You are an individualized expression of the whole, one with the infinite, one with God that is in everything and everyone, the creative energy of the universe. It surrounds you with love. It fills you up. It rejoices in who and what you are as it beats within the heart of your soul. And from this place of quiet contemplation, of direct conversation with God, allow yourself to go deeper and deeper into the core of your being. As a spiritual entity, you live in the allness of God, of good. You have been gifted all that you require to live a life of abundance and prosperity. And you live in the kingdom of heaven, for it resides within you every moment of every day. And when you are willing to let go of the past, to release any thoughts of the future, and to stand tall in the present, moment by moment, you have all that you require to live in paradise. You have been given the keys to the kingdom. And when you are opened and receptive, when you are grounded in your faith and know who and what you are, anything is possible. Life unfolds with divine perfection. Remember that you are a spiritual being in the process of becoming. And each day, when you choose to walk with God, step by step, little by little, you raise your consciousness. You enter the kingdom. So today and every day, remember to say to yourself, the kingdom of heaven lives within me, and anything is possible. As you slowly and gently bring yourself back to the present, back to full consciousness, nudge your soul to wake up. And when you are aware, awake, and alert, open your eyes and feel the love of God that surrounds you. And so it is.
I realize I'm one with the one. I realize I'm one with the one. I realize I'm one with the one. I realize I'm one with the one.
And so it is. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Grisha. The thought for the week is by the Reverend Eben Reed. My purpose for living is to be an outlet for the pure light of spirit to freely shine through me without being obstructed by the negative thoughts I entertain about God, the light itself, myself, the conduit and the world, the realm of experience. I seek to be as perfect as the light is perfect. We will now have a musical selection by Schreiner-Trudel Parkinson.
I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. And I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows. I believe for everyone who goes astray, someone will come to show the way. And I believe, yes, I believe above the storm, the smallest prayer will still be heard. And I believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know I believe. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know I believe.
All right, nice shirt, Shem. Thank you, Shemroy, and thank you, Richard, for your accompaniment. Today's lesson, Kingdom of Heaven, will be given by the Reverend Barbara Schreiner-Trudel.
Thank you, Shemroy. That was a great rendition of I Believe. Thank you for that.
You did okay.
And for your humor. It always lightens the mood. The Kingdom of Heaven, not a vacation destination point. The Kingdom of Heaven is not a place we're going to someday. It's a place we can live in right here, right now. So I ask you to think about what it was that you were maybe taught about the Kingdom of Heaven. You know, if we behave really good, if we do all the right things, according to the powers that be, of course, if we do everything right, then we may get to go to heaven at the end of our lives. And if we do everything wrong, we get to go to hell. I don't actually buy any of that. There is an idea that life is something more than that. And what Jesus taught was that the kingdom of heaven is within. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. So within, here, at hand, now. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. So it's really important that we start looking at what Jesus actually taught. And what he taught us was about living in this present moment and in a place of love. What we're striving to do through Verity Centre for Better Living or any New Thought organization, that what we're teaching is that it is time for us to live the Christ mind. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not human beings seeking to be spiritual. This is a shift in consciousness that we need to make if we are going to put on the Christ mind and live from that understanding and awareness. In the book, The Wisdom Jesus, she shares something from a writer by the name of Jim Marion, and he wrote a book, Putting on the Mind of Christ. What's interesting about Jim Marion is that he's not a theologian, but rather a Washington lawyer, which is interesting. In Philippians 3:5, it says, let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. So what we're meant to be doing is not admiring Jesus, but acquiring the consciousness of Jesus. Now, if we take a look at scripture, and I went through it this morning, actually, just to see how many times the idea of the kingdom of heaven is presented by Jesus. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So there's something about that that is far more important than maybe we have even thought about or realized. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is within. Our Father in heaven, so that divine presence, God in us, is that expression. Now, heaven is a awareness and understanding of living in a place of love, which means we love, period. Christ did not judge according to gender. He did not judge according to wealth. He did not judge according to a person's station in life, their health situation. Jesus did not judge people. He loved them. And he gave us a mandate to love one another as he has loved us. So how did Jesus love? Well, completely, right? There is part of the teaching that some grew up with that somehow Jesus was nice. And I'd say nice is a 4-letter word, so we don't necessarily want to use that. It doesn't have a lot of meaning. Jesus was not nice. Jesus was clear. Jesus lived the truth he taught. The consciousness of the Christ was what he lived in and shared in each and every moment. That idea that heaven is within us. Heaven is a state of consciousness, not a vacation destination point. So as we explore the teachings of Jesus, and as we begin to do what we can to embody it, to embrace it fully, and to create a harmony in our lives that allows us to live heaven now, it really does require that we get to know ourselves, that we come to understand ourselves. And, you know, we're living in a world right now that's very chaotic, shall we say. We've got a pandemic to worry about. We've got racial unrest. We've got equality issues across the board. There is all manner of ways in which we are choosing to separate. The kingdom of heaven is not about separation and division. It's about oneness and connection. So I want to talk to you about that oneness, that connection. I would like to see each and every one of us explore over the next week where we live in the divide. Where are we living in the divide? Where are we saying, oh, those people? Or when do we sit back and think, well, you know, they're this and I'm that? Where is it that we're separating anything in our human experiences where we're not recognizing the kingdom of God, but in fact, judging or criticizing those around us, the ones we don't understand possibly. We're here right now to live life in a new way. We come to Verity Centre for better living, to create a better life, right? We come here to discover practical ways to live that allow us to honor the life that we've been given, to live from that authentic place so that we might honor our way shower, Jesus, who lived as the Christ and said, all of us have the ability to live that same life. We all have within us that ability to do that. So in the book, she suggests that what we are actually supposed to be doing on this path is not just admiring Jesus, but acquiring his consciousness. When Marion was writing about the kingdom of heaven, he noticed that throughout the teachings, Jesus uses this phrase repeatedly. The kingdom of heaven, you can easily confirm this by a quick browse through the Gospels. And when we take a look at how many times he used it, we have to come to understand that this is a very integral part of the message. And how do we live from that awareness and understanding and harmonize with it? He goes on to talk about sort of, Christians from an evangelical persuasion assume that the kingdom of heaven is a place we go when we die, if we've been good. But the problem with this interpretation is that Jesus himself specifically contradicts this when he says, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's not later, but lighter. Some more subtle quality or dimension of experience accessible to you right in the moment. You don't die into it, you awaken into it. So this idea of awakening really is a requirement of this path that we're on. In order to experience the fullness of heaven, the only way we can live that Christ life is to really explore our own life experience, our thoughts, words, and actions. So our practice is so important. When we are doing our meditation, when we're praying, when we move into a new community, whether it's at church or, in another setting, at a friend's wedding, or we're visiting family, some other part of the country, or maybe we're traveling, although we can't do much of that right now. The reality is that we are in a place where we are being called to our highest possible potential. So I want you to think about your biases. I want you to think about your prejudice. We all have it. We like to pretend we don't because it's not okay to be biased and prejudiced. But let's be honest, we are. The only way we can begin to change that and begin to live in the kingdom of heaven is to explore what it is we believe and then ask, does that belief still hold true today? And is it something that I even believe? Or is it something that was passed on to me through training by parents, friends, siblings, relatives, the school system, the neighborhood we grew up in, the country we grew up in? Where did that message come from? As we explore those biases, we begin to open our minds and hearts to a place of going, you know what? I would like to understand. I want to be loving and accepting. I want to live in the kingdom of heaven, not someday, but today. I want to live there, not when, but now. And if I'm doing that, that means every moment is calling me to my highest and best. So what is my highest and best? That's when I absolutely put on the mind of the Christ and live from there. Now, that is about exploration, expansion. It's about forgiveness. It's about checking in with my judgments, my criticisms of myself and others, and beginning to reframe everything from this consciousness of love. I know, tall order, right? Very tall order. There's a book out there called The 4 Agreements, and it's just 4 simple little agreements, right? Don't make assumptions, do your very best, live in integrity. I can't remember the 4th one. But what this book, when you hear those things, it's like, wow, that's pretty simple until you actually attempt to live it. And I've tried many, many times. I probably do better today than I did the first time I tried it. But don't make assumptions. Don't we do that constantly? Don't we make assumptions constantly? We look at somebody and we make an assumption about who they are, what their role in life is, what they do or don't do. Do we approve of their life? Do we not approve of their life? Do we like them as people? Would we welcome them? Right? These things are going on and they're happening very quickly. And they're happening in a way that isn't necessarily from our conscious perspective, but maybe from an underlying sense of belief about the world based on what we were taught. So my experience of this was, and I've shared this story before, but when I was traveling through Northern Ontario and was going through one of the reservations and stopped to get gas and use the washroom and stuff. And when I went in, immediately when I saw the gentleman behind the counter who was Indigenous, immediately the thought came to mind, he's probably drunk and this place is likely filthy. I was mortified when I recognized that thought. I was so embarrassed and humiliated. I mean, nobody could read my mind, but in the moment I thought, here you are, a minister preaching and teaching love. How is it possible that you could be thinking this right now? I went into the washroom, took a few minutes, took a breath, did my prayer work, invited myself to heal that aspect of me that had been trained into me, right? I realized it was taught to me by my dad. It wasn't my belief. It was an old idea that had been so ingrained in me that it just popped up. So I did my prayer work around it. I forgave myself, my father, took a breath in and came out and back to the counter and spoke with the gentleman. And he was very, very lovely man. The place was spotlessly clean, well run. He was beautiful. And there was just a moment of healing that happened for me as I engaged with him from a higher consciousness, from a willingness to get to know him rather than to judge him, to take a moment to realize that my thoughts had no validity. They were merely the hangover of a belief system that was drilled into me as I was a child. We have these things going on, and we don't always know what they are until they surface. But we have an obligation that when they do, we have an opportunity to heal that and to return to the kingdom of heaven. When I'm thinking thoughts like that, I'm in hell. When I think thoughts of love and gratitude and a willingness to discover and learn, I'm in heaven. Ask yourself where it is you would like to live, and are you ready to change what it is you think is right or wrong, change what it is you believe about the world around you, and come to an understanding that I don't know what I don't know. However, I'm willing to learn. I'm teachable. Reverend Evan talked all the time about being open, receptive, being teachable. That was one of his big things in all of his lessons, was open your mind. Open your mind. You don't know what you don't know. I don't know what I don't know. As we open our mind, as we become curious, as we become receptive, we're living in the kingdom of heaven. We're allowing the mind that was in Christ to be in our mind. It is essential. We are living in times that, what was hidden is now revealed. And because it's revealed, we can't ignore it anymore. So it's time to explore, to expand, to grow, and to live in that consciousness of love. So we're in a world of great change, aren't we? All of a sudden, we're having conversations that we would never have before. Conversations. There used to be conversations about, in my home, I remember my parents saying, what happens in the house stays in the house. You don't air our dirty laundry out in public. In other words, keep hidden what I don't want anybody else to know. And that has led to all manner of problems in our world, hasn't it? We tend to judge on appearance. We tend to judge on behaviors rather than looking at the Christ within. At the beginning of our service, we said, Namaskar. Namaskar. That doesn't mean I'm separate from you. That means that I see you, not for who I want you to be, but I see you as the Christ consciousness. I see you for who you truly are, beyond behaviors, attitudes. I see you. That's living in the kingdom of heaven. That's the place where we want to live. That is at least the place where I want to live, because of course, if I'm living there, then my life feels more positive and upbeat and loving and fun and interesting and all manner of stuff. On Friday night, we had a meeting of the LGBTQI group of people, and a number of people joined, and it was really wonderful to listen to the conversations about what needs to happen or how we need to become more of an inclusive space where everyone is honored, where we begin to see each other for who we truly are rather than judging from something we don't understand. And I know that there's lots of questions right now, especially for those of us who are a bit older who don't really understand, well, why does somebody put she and her behind her name? Or he and him, or they? Like, why are we changing what gender is? Why is, somebody who's born a girl decide that they're a boy? What's going on in our world? I don't think anything is going on in our world that's different than before. I think today we're just standing more in our authentic truth. And as such, people who are going through these different experiences that some of us might not understand, as we get to know people, what we realize is gender is such an odd thing. Like, why do I have to put on a credit card application that I'm a woman? Or why do I put on a job application that I'm a woman? What difference does it make? But the reality is that there is a division. And being a woman means the company could pay me less, or maybe have less faith in me. But is that reasonable? So we look at life from a number of places and we ask ourselves, what is it I need to discover? What is it I need to do to live in the most honorable way? And I say, we must love one another as he has loved us. That was the mandate from Jesus. Not to judge each other, not to criticize, not to build walls, but to open our hearts, to be teachable, to come to understand different people, different ways of life, and to honor and respect all of it. Just because I don't understand something doesn't make it wrong and bad. It just means here's something I can be curious about and I can learn. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to open? Are you willing to live in the kingdom of heaven, not someday down the road, but right now, today? Are you willing to do the work that Jesus has mandated right in our core you know, what we believe, it talks about Jesus being our way shower. It is up to each one of us to live that. And that's what leads us to that better life or heaven. Because heaven really is a state of consciousness. It's not a place we go to or get to. It's a consciousness. And it is a consciousness of love. And a consciousness of love is a consciousness of oneness, of acceptance. It's also a consciousness of peace and joy. We know when we're living there because our body feels calm. Our mind is clear. There's a joy and a natural smile and uplifting experience that occurs as a result of this. We are a remarkable group of people. I know that because I know most of you quite well, or getting better all the time, and I love you. Just the way you are. It's okay, you can make a mistake, you can trip and fall. What is a saint? A saint is just a sinner who fell and got up. Each one of us have made errors along the way. Each one of us has grown or expanded. If we look back over the last 30, 40, 50 years, we can notice the evolution of our own personalities, of our own ability to stand for what we believe in, to open our hearts so wide as to receive every person. Examine the biases that you hold. We all have them. Examine them, and then call yourself to stand in your fear or hell experience so that you might be lifted into the consciousness, the elevated consciousness that is heaven. I remember years and years ago, I was married to an individual who was an alcoholic and very abusive. And when I left that marriage, I was quite fearful of all sorts of people, but especially if I smelled alcohol on anyone. It just didn't even matter how much they'd had to drink or whether they appeared to be inebriated. It was just the smell of it would take me right back into that place of great fear that I'd lived for a while. And I noticed that as I did my spiritual work, as I did my meditation practice, as I prayed, as I allowed myself to heal that part of me that felt like a victim, I moved from victimhood to a place of victor or victory as I began to take my life back and stand in a place of going, hey, I created that, I can create something better. And I remember one day heading downtown, I was riding the bus and I was just, minding my own business, getting ready for the class I was going to teach. And I just had this thought, take out all your change out of your wallet because somebody's going to need it. And so I reached into my backpack and pulled out my wallet, took all the change out, $3 or $4, whatever, threw it in my jean pocket, closed things up. And when I got to my stop, I just, kind of forgot about it and started walking along. There was a gentleman walking toward me and staggering quite a lot and talking to people along the way, and they were ignoring him and brushing him off. And when he got to me, I could tell he was really drunk. So that would have brought up a lot of fear. But in that moment, I didn't feel fear. I felt compassion. And so he was looking down and he's asking me, if I've got a quarter. And I reached out and took his hand and I placed all the coins I had in it and just held his hand for a moment until he looked up. And then I said, you have a wonderful day, and walked away. I received a healing in that moment. I don't know what happened for him, but I didn't give him money. I gave him love. I gave him acknowledgement as another human being. And what happened with that is none of my business. All I can do is be the part of life that expresses wholeness and love and acceptance. And I must walk through my fear, my biases, my prejudice, whatever I've got going on that blocks and stops good. I have to let it go. When I catch myself being judgmental of another, I have to look in the mirror. I have to look within myself and go, what is my hope of glory if this is what I'm thinking? And I begin to shift that. I begin to shift that consciousness so that I might live and wear that Christ mind moment by moment, day by day. Life is a journey without a destination, which is kind of cool because it can be whatever we make it. And at Verity, it's about creating a better life. And the only way I can create a better life is if I can live in a place of love, honoring the divine laws of nature. As you give, so shall you receive. Where in life are you fearful? Where in life do you feel separate from somebody else or a group of people? Where in life do you feel enlivened and lifted and blessed? We're all on a journey, and the journey is whatever we make it. But living in the consciousness of the kingdom of heaven is pretty powerful. The kingdom of heaven is really a metaphor for a state of consciousness. It is not a place you go to, but a place you come from. It is a whole new way of looking at the world, a transformed awareness that literally turns this world into a different place. The kingdom of heaven is Jesus' own favorite way of describing a state we would nowadays call a unitive consciousness. The hallmark of this awareness is no separation, not between God and humans, not between humans and other humans. And these are indeed Jesus' two core teachings underlying everything he said and did. No separation. When Jesus talks about oneness, he is not speaking in an Eastern sense about an equivalency of being such that I am in and of myself divine. What he more has in mind is a complete mutual indwelling. I am in God. God is in you. You are in God. We are in each other. And his most beautiful symbol of this is in the teaching in John 15, where he says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Abide in me as I in you. We flow into God and God into us because it is the nature of love to flow. So I ask you, are you ready to birth heaven as your state of consciousness? Are you prepared to live the Christ life now? Are you willing to rejoice in God moment by moment and to live as though the Christ is in you, being you, and there's nothing to fear? Are you ready to embody, embrace, and allow the kingdom of heaven to be manifest in your life and world today? Food for thought. God bless. Namaskar.
All the way, I'm going all the way. All the way, I'm going all the way.
All the way, I'm going all the way. I'm going all the way. here we go. I know a place where ain't nobody crying now, where ain't nobody worried. No, all I see are smiling faces. Ladies, let me hear you say, lying to the races. Now, tell me, will you take me there?
I'll take you there.
Come on, let me hear you say you'll take me there.
I'll take you there.
Let's say that you'll take me where.
I'll take you there.
Let me hear the lady say that you'll take me there.
I'll take you there.
Let me talk to you. I know a place. Come on now, where ain't nobody crying now. Well, ain't nobody worried. No, no, now. All I see are smiling faces. Let me hear you say,
Lying to the races.
ladies, tell me that you'll take me there.
I'll take you there.
Come on, let me hear you say you'll take me there.
I'll take you
Let
there.
me hear you say that you'll take me there.
I'll take you there.
Let's quiet tell that you'll take me there.
I'll take you there.
Let me hear you say that you'll take me there.
I'll take you there.
I want you to whisper that you'll take me there. Let me hear you say that you'll take me there.
I'll take you there.
All right, let's loud say you'll take me there.
I'll take you there.
Let me hear you say that you'll take me there.
I'll take you there.
One more time, let me hear you say you'll take me there. I'll take you there.
I'll take you there. What a great song. That was so fun. Great, great energy, which is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I wanted to share a poem with you this morning. I know we're breaking from norm here and then we'll go into our offering, but it was written in 1920, but you know what? It could have been written today. It could have been something that, and I know you'll recognize it. Desiderata by Max Ehrmann, written in 1920. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly and listen to others. Even to the dull and the ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affair, for the world is full of trickery, but let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive it to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. And I'll add, live in the kingdom of heaven, the place of oneness and wholeness. Well, it is that time in our service when we give back of our good. And I want to invite you to say the offering blessing with me. Together, please. It's on your screen. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. All is well, and so it is. And as you prepare your offering, I want to invite you to prepare it as a gift of love. That the energy that you put into everything you do is the energy in which everything comes back to you. So as we give this gift of love, what I know is that it is a seed creating growth and expansion and beauty for Verity. Not just for Verity, though, for all of us who attend here. It's an opening of our mind and hearts. It's sharing in a way that allows our spiritual food to be guaranteed going forward. So I know that I am grateful, and I know that this church operates with such love and appreciation, and the gifts that we receive truly are a gift of that love, and we share it in that same manner with generosity, kindness, and respect. So as you give, you can give in many ways. You can give through e-transfer by sending your donation to admin@veritycentre.org. You can also donate through Canada Helps. And of course, you can mail in your offerings and tithes to our office at 447 Vaughan Road in Toronto, M6C 2P as in Paul 4. And let us just bless this offering and also pray over the life changes and prayer requests we have received this past week. I open my mind and heart and I recognize the Christ consciousness as life itself, as the gateway to a better life. I recognize that there is only God, this infinite, all-powerful, all-knowing, creative energy and vibration that is love. I feel it at the core of my being. I accept it as a journey of life and living, and I know moving forward that this power heals all things. I know that life is changing and moving, and that things may seem hard and difficult in some cases. But as I change my mind and as I shift my perspective, I begin to see and know the presence of God in a way that deepens my expanded awareness, that allows me to be all that God created me to be. I know today that a healing has occurred, that blessings abound, and that what's in the highest and best good for every person, that is now fully realized. As Reverend Carrie moves on her way, it is with love in our hearts that we bless, that we remember, and that we know that her journey forward is truly a gift and a blessing, and that her and Evan are dancing in the infinite, eternal oneness as they rejoin each other in love, appreciation, friendship, and gratitude. Today, I breathe into the fullness of life and accept it for where it is and how it is, and I know that all is well. I let this be so, and so it is. And now let us say together the prayer of protection. Together, please, it's on your screen. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. And so it is. And a quick note before the music starts, there is no breakaway this week. In fact, we're taking a 3-week break. We will be back on May the 5th when we will be doing a Bible study, metaphysical interpretation of Bible scriptures that we're familiar with and how to apply them in our life today to live practical Christianity. So that's what's coming May the 5th. All right, and now to close, New Age Vision by Voices of Praise.
My eyes have seen the coming of allegiance to thee, but from every limitation I shall know that I am free. Standing side by side with men, I have seen the